Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living. I am Reverend Mary Marie Shelton, the senior minister here. We're delighted to welcome you. We're going to invite you to stand and sing. And I just want to forewarn you that midway through this song, I'm going to invite you to mingle around and say good morning to people. So be prepared to go wandering as soon as I tell you that. Then we'll finish the song when you come back, okay? So here we go.
Here we go. You are welcome here.
You are welcome here. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. You are welcome here.
Our arms wide open. Our arms are wide open. There's room for everyone. Wherever you're going, wherever you're from, you know what? You are home. You are welcome here. 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 Next verse. Whatever you've been through,
Oh,
found
Karen.
us. You found us somehow. Wherever you are on your journey now, you are home. You are welcome here. 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 You are welcome here.
Go around and welcome each other. Go ahead. Mingle around and say hi to people. There you go. Go back to this one. Yeah. So let's just start. Let's just start it and bring them back.
And we are welcome here. We are welcome here. We are
Thank you.
welcome here. We are welcome here.
Come on back.
We are welcome here. We all are welcome. Right now, give it to yourself and say, I am welcome here. I am welcome here. I am welcome here. Last time, say, I am welcome here. I am welcome here. I am welcome here.
Thank you, everybody. Oh, I love it how out of control you get when I tell you to go say hello to people. That's one of my favorite things. I love that. So now is the time to just go ahead and silence your cell phone. You don't have to turn it off. You know why? Because there may be a moment that you want to post some quote or idea to Facebook that comes up to you during the service. So I want you to feel free to do that. We love that. But do turn it off so that we won't hear any of the paging or ringing or any of that stuff in the room. So just silence that. And let's prepare now for the inner work. So we're going to have our meditation song and the opening prayer by Reverend Sarah Hargrave.
Give and receive love. I am here to give and receive. And I am here to give and receive love. I am here to give and receive. Love, I am here to give and receive love. I am here to give receive love. I am here to give and receive love, love. I am here to give and receive love. I am here to give and receive love. I am here for love.
We open our hearts to the wisdom of our founder, Ernest Holmes. There's nothing in the nature of the world that forbids or prevents us from enjoying the ever-increasing amount of good in every good thing. So we open our hearts in this time of harvest, this time of welcoming the new season and the harvest of our lives. And so we open our hearts to the wisdom of God, wisdom of spirit in every part of our lives. We open our bodies to the well health and vitality that is always there. And we open our minds to the guidance that is present in every moment, in every situation. And we open all of ourselves to everything that is waiting for us, the good that is pouring into our lives and through our lives into the lives of others. So we accept this good harvest for ourselves and for others and simply wait for wonderful reports and delightful surprises. And so it is. Amen.
So it is.
Love, 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 love.
Thank you, Sarah.
We are here to give and receive love.
Thank you, Karen. That is our beloved music director, Karen Drucker. Let's acknowledge her. So, Ellen, I think we should probably close the front door now for the road noise. And good morning, everybody. Happy Halloween, happy Samhain, happy Dia de los Muertos tomorrow. And it is one of our Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living High Holy Days today. Because, do you know why? Because it's Doris Jones' birthday. And Doris Jones, for those of you who don't know, was our master practitioner teacher. She was Reverend Carol Huntley's mother, and we honor her. She taught practitioners in 3 different congregations, Santa Rosa, San Jose, and Golden Gate, for a number of years. So there are a lot of practitioners out there in the world who were trained by Doris Jones, and our own practitioners who teach practitioner training now were trained to do that by Doris Jones. So we honor her High Holy Day on October 31st. So yay, Doris. She's gone on. She's looking out for us from the other side now. So 2021 has been our year of looking at evolutionary vision and timeless wisdom, together. Clearly, when we're celebrating this kind of a holiday, we're looking at ancient wisdom, because all of these holidays, in some sense, predate any kind of Christian tradition. So we have this marvelous altar over here this morning that celebrates both Halloween and Dia de los Muertos. This was done by Paula Yu, and it's fabulous. Now, she does have up here a bowl of candy, which may or may not make it to the back, depending on how quick you are to get up here and get yours after the service. So just be aware of that. That is up there. I'm not quite sure what the rat puppet is.
That's how I hand out candy to the kids.
Oh, okay.
I get the candy and put it in their bag with the rat.
Got it. So she said that's what she uses to hand out the candy to the kids. It's like this rat, or I guess it's a rat because it has a tail, and she hands out the candy that way. So we are in the 6th of 8 weeks in our planned giving program. So we're now formulating what our giving goal is for this coming year for Golden Gate in order not only for us to meet our budget, but to grow and expand what we do in a larger way. So I'm getting excited about that. And this is week 6, so you'll notice that your production planner this week for week 6 is about editing. The magic of the cutting room floor. That's what we're talking about. You know that a film can be made or broken by what happens in the cutting room. How many of you saw The Big Chill, the movie The Big Chill? But did you know that Kevin Costner's role was completely cut out of the movie? He is the whole reason they're there, because he's the one who died. But every single scene that had anything to do with him got cut out of the movie. So all you see is his forehead as his hair gets brushed. And that's it, and his shoes that get shined. That's it. He disappeared on the cutting room floor. And there are reasons why sometimes our favorite things go to the cutting room floor, and I'll talk about that a little while later. Good can become the enemy of better, as Jack Boland used to say. But so this morning, as we prepare to look at the scenes that no longer suit us in our lives, those are the ones we're going to be working on this week with the production planner. So to get us ready for that, we're going to be claiming better scenes. And that comes with our theme song, Amazingly Awesome, which is, it starts off, you know, like we're in church. I'm giving Karen I'm vamping so she can get in place. It starts off like we're in church, right? Very holy, and then it rocks. So what I want you to do is stand up and go nuts. So here we go.
Well, I cut the whole part out. That's good. We'll go back to the beginning. I like
Let's do it. Woo-woo. Yeah. Okay, this is the holy part.
This is the holy part. Something amazingly awesome is gonna happen to me today.
Yes.
Something amazingly awesome is gonna happen to me today.
Yes, we claim it. Hallelujah.
Something amazingly awesome is gonna happen to me today. Something amazingly awesome is gonna happen to me today. And thanks for coming. That's all
Here
I
we
have to
go.
say.
Let's
Here we
hit
go.
it. All right.
Take a
Get
deep
ready.
breath.
Yes. Here we go. Woo. Go ahead and move your body.
Something amazingly awesome is gonna happen to me today. Something amazingly awesome is gonna happen to me today. Something amazingly awesome is gonna happen to me today. Something amazingly awesome is gonna happen to me today. I'll sing my little mantra. I'm gonna get it in my head. Today is a party. I'm gonna leap on out of bed. And I start my day in this way, knowing everything is okay. I look for the good in everything. Makes me wanna say, oh, something amazingly awesome gonna happen to me today. Something amazingly awesome is gonna happen to me today. Something amazingly awesome gonna happen to me today. Something amazingly awesome is gonna happen to me today. Yeah. Now it's not out in the future, it's right before my eyes. The beauty, joy, and wonder. Well, it's time I realize that every moment is a gift. All it takes is the slightest shift to see the good in everything. Makes me want to say, oh, here we go, sing it out now. Something amazingly awesome gonna happen to me today. Something amazingly awesome is gonna happen to me today. Something amazingly awesome is gonna happen to me today. Something amazingly awesome is gonna happen to me today. All right, now turn to someone and tell them something amazingly awesome is gonna happen to you today. Just tell somebody.
Tell your neighbors. Something
Oh,
amazing
yeah.
awesome is gonna happen to you today.
To you, to you, to you, to you, to me, to all of us.
Amazingly awesome.
Oh yeah.
Yes, right.
question. How can I be open to it? Your part says gratitude, gratitude. But what if I'm not really feeling it? Gratitude, gratitude. I believe in the power of what I say will be. And I finally learned the lesson that gratitude is the key. Yeah, 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 yeah. All right, so now here's what you're gonna embody. You're gonna say, amazing, amazing, it's all amazing. You say, amazing, amazing, it's all amazing. Amazing, amazing, it's all amazing. Amazing, amazing, it's all amazing. All of it, amazing, amazing, it's all amazing. Something amazingly awesome gonna happen to me today. Now something amazingly awesome is gonna happen to me today. Something amazingly awesome is gonna happen to me today. Something amazingly awesome is gonna happen to me today. Something amazingly awesome is gonna happen to me, to you, to all of us. Something amazingly awesome is gonna happen to me today.
Well done, everybody. Yes, give yourselves a hand. And I want to invite my cast here to come on up for scene 6 of A Star is Born. So as you know, each week as we've been doing this, a new character has appeared. And today, our final new character is going to appear. And let's see if you can figure out who it is. So take it away, cast. And you're going to have to get up on the stage there, all the way on the other side of Judith. You need to go over there. Yeah. Otherwise, I can't see you and hear you.
Okay, here we go. Every time I hear our words rehearsed or performed, my heart is filled with gratitude. We are genius.
Yes. Every time I hear our words rehearsed or performed, my heart fills with gratitude. We're genius. The performers have given me such pleasure to watch. I'm really proud of them.
I'm just resting on our laurels this week. With the final wrap so close, there's nothing to do but enjoy the ride.
I am more and more grateful for all of our backers. Consistent, conscious giving has allowed us to reach our highest goals.
You know, with this quiet prevailing on the set, the finished product is nearly here. I'm grateful for that.
Well, you're all rather upbeat considering everything is a mess. You don't realize what I go through on my own without you.
Please remember, you're never without us. We're always with you if you just listen and let us in.
What could possibly be wrong at this stage? I'm hearing that everything is ready. What else could we possibly need?
I've been looking at the dailies. The scenes just don't fit together well at all. They look great one by one. But when I put the old scenes together with the newer ones, it just doesn't look right. I'm stuck. I'm depressed.
Remember our experience of quiet on the set? Why not stop, breathe, and be still?
That's right. It helped us before. Is it helping you now?
No. I'm trying, but all I see are all the mistakes I've made.
Why don't you say it differently? Instead of mistakes, let's call them outtakes. You don't have to put everything into the film just because you shot the scenes. We can take out anything that doesn't fit or look right. It's called editing.
When am I going to learn that all my problems have a solution when I listen to my own experts?
Oh, that's good. Just remember to listen to the inner voices of wisdom.
Well, I certainly can go along with that.
Maybe with so many of us to help you, you'll finally get the picture.
Thank you all. Now, back to this editing idea. I've made a lot of mistakes in my life. Do you think I should edit them out, or just because they were failures?
It is a human habit to view mistakes as failures, but there is a lot of juicy, good stuff to learn from these if you're just paying attention.
Learning from failure. I like the idea of changing that word.
How about looking at so-called failures as growth opportunities?
Wow, I'm calming down as we speak. But if I cut all the parts out of my life, won't I be altering reality?
Excuse me, but you're already creating your reality. It's your life, and you can edit anything you please. It's the same whether we're talking about a movie or a life. If you want the movie to turn out right, start cutting the extraneous stuff.
How do I know what's extraneous?
Like you said, it's all the negative stuff that just doesn't fit anymore.
It's the stuff that doesn't wear well over time. It's the stuff that looked old next to your newer stuff.
Now you're getting it. Just cut the negatives from your life and from the film too. Just leave them on the cutting room floor. It's the same as changing your past by changing your attitude toward it.
You can change the past? Wow! Now that's an idea whose time has come.
Let's put that in the meditation book.
So let's start with those dailies. Rerun those and look for anything that needs to be edited out, given the outcome you're going for.
Leave it to an editor to have the wisdom for all of us.
I'm appreciating all the parts of us so much now.
Take this and remember once and for always, we are all with you, all the time. We are one. I knew I had it somewhere.
We are one. We are one. You don't know how complete I feel knowing this when I remember this.
Yes, we do.
I think we really owe them a huge applause for what they're doing. Can we do that? Yeah. Now, when you, I don't know if you got this when you came in today, so if you didn't get your eraser, this is your gift for today. You need an eraser because this is your symbol of practice for this week. This is the opportunity then to take a look at stuff you've been saying to yourself or believing for a long time that's in your way, and using this, symbolically, take that out and put in what you want instead. What we're doing is we're looking at a very basic, oh, here they come with the erasers. Put your hand up if you didn't get an eraser, because the erasers arrived a little late. Make sure you get yours. I mean, of all the silly little things that we've given you to symbolize your work, this is probably the most useful thing since you got a pen. So take this to use with keep your hand up until Brandon gets to you. He's coming. These are your Halloween goodies. This year you get an eraser. Not coal, not candy. You get an eraser, all right? Our theme for this giving process that we're in, this program this year, is a star is born. And what we believe is that every child that comes into the world is a star that is born. But sometimes we go through our lives and forget that. In fact, we really need to go through our lives and forget that in order to enter into life fully and take the lessons that are ours. So, when we get to this point in our lives, we have an opportunity then to look back and say, okay, how much of this that I've collected over the course of my life is wisdom I want to take forward with me, and what doesn't fit anymore? Because a lot of what we used up until now was useful at some point in the past. It served a good purpose, but perhaps that's not the case anymore. Yes? Okay. So when we look at A Star is Born, we're now coming into the question of the magic of the cutting room floor. That what we leave on the floor, we want to cut just the right amount of those things that are no longer serving us, because we want to create a different experience of our lives. Maybe something new, something different, that we encounter a new way of being. There's a story I learned long ago about an Amish fellow and his young son who were at the mall for the very first time. They'd never been in a department store before. And they were fascinated by everything that was there, but particularly by these two silver walls that opened and closed. And so they were standing in front of them looking at this thing, and the boy said to his dad, "What is that?" And his father, who'd never seen an elevator before, said, I don't know, son. I've never seen this kind of thing. I have no idea what it is." And as they watched, the little old lady kind of hobbled up with her cane, and she went through these sliding silver doors, and then they closed. There was a little room there that she went in. The doors closed, and then they saw these lights up above that lit up one direction and then went off, and then lit up the other direction and then went off, and then the doors opened, and a beautiful young woman walked out. And the man turned to his son and said, "Go get your mother." So sometimes we see something and we immediately recognize there's a higher good. Now, perhaps that was his thought, perhaps not. But looking forward to what is the possibility of something that expands or improves our life, that takes the good that we have now and builds on it, and that prunes away that which no longer serves. Any of you raise roses? Have roses in your garden? Okay, so you know if you have roses in your garden, they're going to be even more beautiful next year if you do your proper pruning in the wintertime, right? Then they produce more flowers, they have more air, they just do better overall. So in our own lives, we need to be able to do that pruning sometimes as well. And so what happens is we tell stories. Now, we're made to tell stories as human beings. We love stories. Whether the story is a sports story about a team that hasn't won in decades and suddenly wins, or it's a fairy tale that we love, or it's a series or a movie or something that we watch, or it's the story of a performer or a singer or an actor or somebody who overcomes great odds. We love stories. We tell stories. We tell stories about our families, about our ancestors, if we know them, about ourselves, about our kids. We're constantly telling stories. And not all of those stories have equal weight in our consciousness or equal value in supporting the lives that we want now. But we're very familiar with them. So one of the things that happens, Amanda and I saw a movie quite a while back about, and I can't remember the guy's name, he wrote Look Homeward Angel and some other things that were famous in the 30s. And what I didn't know about him was that when he produced his books and took them to his editor, they were like thousands of pages, and this man did not want to cut a comma, nothing. So his editor had to work really, really hard with him to convince him and to get him to take out the level of detail that was bogging the story down, or even whole scenes that were not really serving the overall development of the story. You with me here so far? So in our own lives, when we have a direction that we want to go, we need to know what to tell. We need to know what to leave out. We need to make sure that we have plenty of juicy details to keep the story moving forward. And one of the things that happens when we do that is we attract more of that kind of experience or story into our lives. So the more we focus on, oh, poor me, the more oh, poor me we get in our lives. Now, oh, poor me can be really useful for gaining sympathy at a given moment. We learn that as kids, don't we? You know, you want to get off the hook easily, make them feel sorry for you. And parents will let you right off the hook if they feel sorry for you. When my son was in high school, we lived in Huntington Beach, and we lived in a 3-story condo, and we had up against the wall in our garage a bed frame, a wire bed frame that we were going to, I don't know what, give away or do something with. But anyway, it was leaning up against the wall. And when Luke was about 16 or 17, so he's a relatively new driver, one of these days I came home and I drove into the garage and I drove in just a little too far. And this metal bed frame came down and left these two nasty gashes in the hood of my car. And a dent even. And I was just sick about it. I couldn't believe I had done that. I was so upset with myself. Well, 2 or 3 hours goes by. Amanda and Luke had been out doing something, shopping, and he'd been practicing driving. And he drove into the garage and drove into the bed frame and put 2 more great scratches in the hood of the car. And he came upstairs gray. And he said, "Mom, I have to tell you something," knowing I was going to kill him. And he said, "I drove into the bed frame and it scratched your car. I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to do it." Now, I have to tell you, it wasn't just that I felt sorry for him, because if I hadn't already done it myself, I would have been really upset. But because I had done it and used up my upset on me, by the time he came in, I was ready to be completely sympathetic with him. At that point, it was prime. The universe set me up so that I would be compassionate with my son, so that his poor me actually landed properly, right? So we learn, and I don't think he was trying to manipulate me. I think he was genuinely terrified. But what is the point of my story? What I want to say is that sometimes we get so good at using that feeling sorry for ourselves or encouraging others to feel sorry for us that it becomes our MO in the world. And what we don't realize is that when we're focused on stuff to feel sorry for ourselves about, that's what we get more of. That's the law. So our stories are sticky. Our stories are sticky in the sense that the ones that we cling to, the ones that we value, and the ones that are the hardest for us to cut sometimes because they're so juicy in their effectiveness in getting us sympathy or attention or getting us out of trouble or whatever it is, that we don't want to really cut them out. We actually love, in a sense, the usefulness of those stories, at least the usefulness they used to bring us, because we get oblivious to the fact that they're not only bringing us some good stuff, they're also hamstringing us completely. Because when we live in the victim consciousness, we are disempowered. The victim is the one that has no choices, no options. There's nothing they can do. So sometimes we keep it because, in a sense, it served us so well before. We don't want to lose that particular hook, that particular handle. We want to hang on to it just in case. So it's like, well, maybe I won't tell that story anymore, or maybe not so much, but I want to keep it handy just in case. And so we tend to lean back and grab that when we feel like we need it. Are you with me? Is this making sense? And so what we want to be able to do instead is to harness a story that, rather than disempowering us, empowers us. And here's one of my favorites. A seminary professor was vacationing with his wife in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. And one morning they were eating breakfast at a little restaurant, hoping to enjoy a quiet family meal. And while they were waiting for their food, they noticed a distinguished-looking, white-haired man moving from table to table, visiting with all the guests. And the professor leaned over and whispered to his wife, "I hope he doesn't come over here." But sure enough, man came right to their table. "Where are you folks from?" he asked in a friendly voice. "Oklahoma," they answered. "Oh, great to have you here in Tennessee," the stranger said. "What do you do for a living?" "I teach at a seminary," the professor said. "Oh, so you teach preachers how to preach, do you? Well, I got a really great story for you." And with that, the gentleman pulled up a chair and sat down at the table with them. And the professor groaned and thought to himself, "Great, just what I need, another preacher story." And the man pointed out the restaurant window. "You see that mountain over there? Not far from the base of that mountain, there was a boy born to an unwed mother. He had a hard time growing up because every place he went, he was always asked the same question. 'Hey, boy, who's your daddy?' Well, he would hide at recess and at lunchtime from the other students. He would avoid going into the stores because that question hurt him so bad. And when he was about 12, a new preacher came to his church. And the boy would always go in late and slip out early to avoid hearing that question. But one day, the new preacher said the benediction so fast that the boy got caught and had to walk out with the crowd. And just about the time he got to the back door, the new preacher, not knowing anything about him, put his hand on his shoulder and asked him, "Son, who's your daddy?" And the whole church went deathly quiet. The boy could feel every eye in the church looking at him. Now everybody would finally know the answer to that question. Who's your daddy? This new preacher, though, sensed the situation around him and used a little discernment that only the Holy Spirit could give. Said to that scared little boy, "Wait a minute now. I know who you are. I see the family resemblance now. You are a child of God." And he patted the boy on the shoulder and said, "Boy, you got a great inheritance. Go and claim it." Well, that boy smiled for the first time in a long time and walked out the door a changed person. He was never the same again. After that, whenever anybody asked him, "Who's your daddy?" he'd just say, "I'm a child of God." The distinguished gentleman got up from the table and he said, "Isn't that a great story?" Well, the professor responded, "Yes, it really was a great story." And as the man turned to leave, he turned back to the table and he said, "You know, if that new preacher hadn't told me that I was a child of God, I probably never would have amounted to anything." And he walked away. The seminary professor and his wife were stunned. He called the waitress over and he asked her, "Do you know who that man was, the one who just left that was sitting at our table?" The waitress grinned. She said, "Of course. Everybody knows him. That's Ben Hooper. He's the governor of Tennessee." This is how to tell a story. This is a story that didn't leave him in the "oh, poor me." Do you see? He took the story of what happened to him. He could have stayed with the pain. There was plenty of that. He could have stayed with that, and that could have been his story. But instead, he let this event be a turning point in his story that changed the way that he could live his life and tell his story. Does this make sense? And so there's a way of looking at our stories and saying, what do I need to leave out now? And what's important to include in this story that allows me to go forward empowered? Or is this story one that needs to be retired altogether? Because I no longer want to claim it as the truth of me. And so each cut is felt when we take it, it's got to let go of that now, got to let go of that. But is necessary to tell the new story clearly and well. And the same is true when we're living our own life story. It's not as the actor was asking the editor, well, am I not trying to change reality if I stop telling the whole story? And the editor says, excuse me, you're creating reality all the time, right? You're creating it right now. By the way you tell that story, by the tone of voice that you tell that story with, by the details you include or you leave out, or you could tell a different story altogether. It's all part of your history, your experience, but what is the true story right now? So I think that as we look this week, when we use our production planners, we look this week for the stories that are actually holding us back, that are like tethering us in place when we're really ready to go forward into a new story. Ernest Holmes said, this is our founder, Ernest Holmes, in This Thing Called You, my favorite of all of his books, he says, this is the story of your life. Just keep right on knocking at the doorway of your consciousness until every no becomes a yes, until every negation becomes an affirmation, every fear a faith. And Raymond Charles Barker, one of the old ministers that studied with Ernest Holmes and one of those that trained our founder, Reverend Dr. Lloyd Tepper, wrote in his book, The Power of Decision, check your thinking, even of the past hour. It will reveal where you stand in the hallways of mind. And Fred Luskin, who I have no idea who that is, wrote in Forgive for Truth, or Forgive for Good, if you can view your mind as your house, It can teach you to control how much space you rent to your wounds and grievances. I'm going to say that again. If you can view your mind as your house, it can teach you to control how much space you rent to your wounds and grievances. You are the proprietor, and you set the rent. Great advice, don't you think? So when we're looking at our own lives and we're creating the story then, we're looking at how do we edit those victim stories? How do we find a different way to tell those stories, to move from the feeling sorry for myself, to move into the having gone past the feeling sorry stage into what was the gift, what was the nugget, what was the truth that came out of that story, because that is what got you to where you are now. You know, when we look at the traumas in our lives, one of the things that psychologists tell us is it's not actually the event of the trauma that causes the damage. It is the meaning we make of the event and how we think about it and feel about it going forward after the moment of the trauma. So we often are so, it's had such an impact on us that we review it in our minds over and over and over and over again, not intending to, but actually re-wounding ourselves every time we do that. And so what we want to do instead is take those traumas now and bless them and look for something we can take forward from them that can empower us in our lives now. Is there a way we can look at it differently to see what juice might be in there for us? And here's a ridiculous example. So this is a meditation to soothe irritation, tongue-in-cheek. Picture yourself near a stream. Birds are softly chirping in the crisp, cool mountain air. Nothing can bother you here. This is a sacred place. No one knows this secret place. You are in total seclusion from that place called the world. The soothing sound of a gentle waterfall fills the air with a cascade of serenity. The water is crystal clear. You can easily make out the face of the person whose head you're holding under the water. Okay, now, that little twist at the end makes this a comedy story. It ends with an unexpected twist, and you are the person in control of the story, all right? Now, if you can easily make out the face of the creature who is holding your head under the water, then it becomes a horror story, a la Stephen King, or maybe a Monty Python comedy sketch. If you can easily make out the face of the person holding your lover's head under the water, it becomes a thriller. If you can easily make out the face of the person who is under the water, it becomes a murder mystery. If that person is your child, the story becomes a tragedy. The point of view makes all the difference in how we interpret the stories in our lives. And the camera can only provide one point of view, but the meaning of that viewpoint is interpreted by the mind that is seeing from that perspective. And so the interpretation of the moment belongs to us. That's the power that we have. So rather than, you know, we all have these experiences that left us feeling broken or battered or like it was unfair and life treated us badly. That's universal. Everybody has those experiences. I can't because it's so-and-so's fault. I had no choice. If only they would, you know. Now the problem with wanting to choose our freedom instead, the problem with that is that we believe those stories are true. We believe that our interpretation is the only accurate one. And so it's hard for us to cut that out because we're attached to the meaning we've made of it and the truth that we've given to it. Is this making sense? And so when we want to make that change, it is difficult sometimes to think, how am I going to interpret this differently? You know, please, God, help me get a different idea of what this means or how I can take this forward. But once you open the door to that, okay, I'm going to make up a new meaning for this because I can't figure out a logical one. So I'm just going to assign randomly a new meaning to it. You know what? That's what you did in the first place anyway. Because we make up those meanings so often when we're kids, we have to guess what something means, based on the amount of logic we have available to us at the time, we think that's the truth. It becomes the truth the more we tell the story, but maybe that was never really the whole story anyway. So we can make up a new meaning for that. We can find a new way. Even a true story that is a wounding story can be released in order to give us more freedom. So you can make it actually into a spiritual practice. You know, what is it that we want to bring into our lives as more truth? Because as I said, you know, stories are sticky. The ones that we love the most are the ones that we go back to again and again. And I'll use this example. If you're a reader, maybe you're somebody who has read a book you love more than once. If you like movies, maybe you have a favorite that you have watched over and over again. When I was a kid, I saw The Wizard of Oz every year for, God knows, more than a decade. Maybe some of you had that experience as kids. I still do that with favorite movies. I watch them again and again. Christmas is coming. You'll probably hear me talk about those movies I love because I talk about them every year. Don't skip any December weeks, though. That's not permission to do that. But we're designed to love stories, to tell them, to repeat them, to engage in them. So notice how the story leaves you feeling. The ones we go back to usually are the ones that inspire us. They leave us with something in their ending that reminds us or lifts us up or encourages us. A good story is something that we savor. Let each moment bring us that kind of story. Choose the wonderful ones, and let those be the sticky ones that we repeat so they create more in our experience. Set up tomorrow with the stories that we have today. And I want to finish up by sharing this one thing with you, which is from a fellow who changed his life, Tim Denning. He's got a little story here I want to share with you that he entitles, My Giant Imaginary Billboard Would Say This: The stories you tell yourself come true. And this is his little story. He said, you have a recurring story running through your brain that you're probably unaware of. Like, why can't I find my passion like everyone else? Why do these things always happen to me? I need to make more money so my life will be easier. Life is hard. It's not fair. These stories, he says, are built on lies. The stories we tell start with questions. To improve your story, begin by asking better questions, questions that limit you, destroy your success. The best questions to ask yourself are big, audacious questions. Not why questions necessarily, but how questions or what questions. They're open-ended. They assume the best rather than the worst, and they're not selfish. He says, write down the questions that will help you create a new story for your life. So when you're using your production planner this week, maybe one of the things you want to do before you create your affirmation is look for a good question to respond to that old belief with. He says, you might as well have a story that's interesting and makes you feel good, don't you think? I don't want to hear nonsense playing in my head on repeat. There's enough of that in my day-to-day life already. He says, 5 years ago, I told myself a story that I was going to crush my fears and become somebody who focuses on the doing and spreading positivity. That new story seemed so stupid at the time because of where I was, but nonetheless, I believed it. And then it took everything I had for me to make it come true. I never let challenges bring me away from that storyline. I kept it front and center. People told me I wasn't good enough, rich enough, smart enough, experienced enough, and I decided to tell myself, yes, I am. And I won't be stopped from achieving my goal. I've told this story so many times since then that now the majority of my network and my colleagues believe it. It's no longer an idea. It's now a reality. The stories you tell yourself do come true. I'm living proof. So even though we don't know him, we don't necessarily know whether we can fall into his belief about himself, what we can know is this, that we are designed to tell stories, and we can choose the wonderful ones and let their stickiness draw more of them to us. Are you ready for that? I think so. I think so. We're ready for that. So keep this thing with you. Write some new affirmations and practice them this week. Begin the seeds of some new stories. So I'm going to invite you to stand up with me now, and we're going to claim this with this affirmation. Clearing out the frogs, clearing out the cobwebs. Okay, here we go. With a new perspective, I review the scenes of my life. I choose the best and cut the rest. There we go. And let's anchor that in prayer. I'm going to have you stand as we do this. So, just imagine as you close your eyes that you are as big as this whole room, and that you include within you all of the people here present, and that your intention right now for all of these dear ones is for them to be blessed, for them to receive a special blessing of grace right now, right here in this room this morning, that lifts them out of one of the old stories that has kept them stuck. That you, as a beneficent being of blessing, are one with the creative presence of all life, and that you have it in your power right now to extend a blessing to all those in this room, to everybody watching online, to extend a blessing of love. Now, as each one of us does that, as each one of us lifts up into that, we become the energy, angelic energy, filling this place, leaving a blessing in this room for whoever comes here next, and sending it out into the world. Think of the people that you love. Think of the people you know that are struggling. We hold them in this prayer this morning, knowing that there is one life and presence. It is right here in this place. It is our life and our presence, and it is theirs. And so I know for each one of us and for them that we are lifted this morning into a higher vibration together because we intend to be together. We are lifted and the law says yes. We step into that higher vibration, allowing it to become the attractive force that draws new stories, new interpretations, new empowerment, new joy into our livingness, beginning now, in this moment, not waiting, with no prerequisites, with nothing else need to be changed but our minds. Right now, we open our minds and hearts to this truth, that we set ourselves free. We set ourselves free from old limitations and beliefs. We set ourselves free from old and limiting interpretations. We step into the greater good that was always ours, and we welcome the newness that Spirit is showing to us now with total delight, with ease, with grace, with no work involved whatsoever. We let it in. We are so grateful for this in this room and throughout all of those who listen and watch now. We're so grateful. We claim this truth with great gratitude. And we send this word into the law, that creative law of mind and spirit, which acts automatically, immediately, and without favoritism upon this word, establishing it as truth for every one of us now. So we let this word go into that law with peace, and we simply let it be so. And together we say, and so it is. Yes, thank you. You may be seated. And so we shift gears slightly to move into our offering. I'm going to invite the ushers to come forward. This is our sacred giving time. So Reverend Lloyd likes to say that we are divine distributors of the infinite good. Whatever portion of that infinite good has been entrusted to us, then it's our right and our responsibility to distribute it in the world as we will. And so we hope that we are a part of the world that you want to make a distribution to, because we hope we're contributing to your life. And if you would like to give to Golden Gate, oops, I want to go back one so I can, hello, maybe I can't, can I? I want to go there. There we go. If you want to give by text, this is the way to do it. I just want to make sure you could see that, because we have a new texting number. Just put in the amount, and whether you're giving it as a previous pledge or to the general fund, and then the rest will be taken care of as you do that. And so for the rest of us right now, if you're not texting, if you've given this week, or even if you haven't, for those of you online as well, we invite you and encourage you to join us, everybody, in blessing the gifts that are coming in today and the gifts we've received this week by saying this together now. This gift I give is God in action. I now send it forth to bless and to prosper. I know that everywhere it goes, it is creating a world living in love, one heart and one thought at a time. And so it is.
So let's anchor that little story that you talked about and say, I am a miracle, God's child. And I am a miracle, God's child. I have perfect love in my heart. I am a miracle, God's child. You want to try singing that with me?
Yeah.
I'm a miracle. I am a miracle, God's child, God's child. I'm a miracle. I am a miracle, God's child. I have perfect love in my heart. I have perfect love in my heart. I am a miracle, God's child. All right, let's do it one more time and say, you are a miracle. Look around and say, you are a miracle, God's child, God's child. You are a miracle, God's child. You have perfect love. You have perfect love in your heart. In your heart, you are a miracle, God's child. Let's just do that last line. We are a miracle, God's child, God's child. Put your hands over your heart and say, I, one more time. I am a miracle, God's child.
And so with great gratitude, we do, all of us here together, on behalf of Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living, receive and bless these gifts, and we send them out into the world to be a blessing everywhere that they go. And so it is. Thank you. All right. So if you are here with us for the very first time this morning, I want to let you know that we have a welcome packet that's available for you. And it's at that back table. You can see Galen back there in the red poncho. She's holding up the welcome packet right there. In that welcome packet, there is a blue card that I'm missing right now that says welcome at the top of it. She's showing it to you. It's in the packet. If you fill that out and give it to her, we will give you a gift right here this morning. That is a little thank you for being here with us. We hope that you'll come back and be with us often again. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming. Now, I do want to say, I have been announcing for several weeks now that today we're doing a quick start from 12:30 to 2:30. I'm wrong. We're not doing that today. We're actually doing that in December. So if you signed up and didn't hear back from Sonia, it's because she was completely confused when she got those, because I somehow, slipped a knot somewhere. So keep it on your calendar. It's going to be happening the beginning of December. That will be coming up with Marilyn Letzos. But what I do want to do this morning is to thank everybody who was here early, everybody who was involved in performing, the music, the prayer from Reverend Sarah, those that are over at the prayer table this morning. So I want to thank everybody, Jim Homa, Dana, William back there at the table, the hospitality team. Let's give everybody a hand who's been involved, which is most of the people who are here with us. Thank you for making this morning possible. Please remember, too, that you have several options to receive prayer on any Sunday when you're here. One is the physical prayer box, where you can put a written request in, and the practitioners will pray over that with you for a week. And in addition to that, not either or, but in addition to that, what's available is we have this morning 3 practitioners who are available to pray with you following the service. Don't be shy about that. If you have something concerning in your life that you would like to have prayer for, go and let them know. And they will take you to a private space where they can do a prayer for you right here before you leave this morning. So we encourage you to take advantage of that. So I'm going to invite all of our practitioners now to surround the room. And would you folks bring me the prayer box? And we're going to enjoy a prayer here before we step into our benediction. Thank you, Rick. So anytime you see somebody with a prayer stole like this is one of Golden Gate's licensed practitioners. They are here after a great deal of study and practice to know just how to speak the word. And they are enfolding you as we do this prayer right now. So just turn within with me one more time and breathe in the presence of all of us in this room, the energy of these human beings together, the presence of this building, this place that has hosted so many events, so many services, so many meetings. This building has its own energy and presence. And these, all of us and the building itself, are enfolded in a larger presence, which is the universal I am. Not only are we enfolded in it, it's what we're made of. My I am is also your I am. There's only one. So we bless this morning and everything that has come about this morning and everything that continues to come forth within us throughout this week because of the music, the prayers, the readings, the words, the scene, everything. We put it into the sacred fertilizer of mind and let it bring forth an abundant harvest of good for us this week. We bless this morning. We let it be a jumping off place for the most wonderful, magnificent week. We are grateful for what is taking place in us right now here in this room today. So grateful. We send this word into the law with peace, and we let it be. And so it is. Please join me now in the benediction and the closing song. So stand up for the benediction as we say together, I now walk, so that whoever walks beside me dwells in the presence of God, and whoever places a hand in mine is lifted, and whoever thinks of me is illumined with God consciousness, for spirit and all people and I are one eternally. And so it is. And so you are a light.
Light, I am a light. I am a light in this world. I am a light. I am a light. I am a light in this world. And I shine, and I shine, and I shine so bright. And I shine, and I shine, and I shine so bright. You are a light, you are a light, you are a light in this world. You are a light, you are a light, you are a light in this world, and you shine, and you shine. Yes, you shine, and you shine so bright, and you shine, and you shine, and you shine so bright. Let's do we. We are a light, we are a light, we are a light in this world. We are a light, we are a light, we are a light in this world, and we shine, and we shine. Just say, we shine, you shine, you shine, I shine, I shine, we shine. We shine. Put your hands in the air and say, we shine. And so you do.